Alright, we are going to Oklahoma. Title says, Oklahoma woman gets life for killing disabled sister-in-law and hiding her body in box for 3 years. True Crime Daily published January 11th, 2024, and this is in Cleveland County. And it says, a 29-year-old woman will spend her life in prison for killing her husband's disabled sister, keeping her body in a box, and continuing to collect her Social Security payments. Wow. Court records show Desiree Sanchez was sentenced Wednesday, January 10th, about 2 months after she was convicted of the first-degree murder of 19-year-old Margarita Maggie Sandoval. The judge also sentenced Sanchez to 5 years for unlawful removal of a dead body. Sanchez's husband, Octavio Sanchez, is awaiting trial on the same charges. In May 2021, Norman Police Department officers responded to a residence on West Lindsay Street after someone reported finding a body wrapped in plastic, which had been left inside a box in the basement. Desiree and Octavio Sanchez were arrested in July 2022, following a 14-month investigation into Sandoval's death, though Octavio Sanchez was already behind bars on unrelated charges in another county. KFOR-TV reports Sandoval's cause of death remained undetermined due to the level of decomposition. Investigators learned Sandoval moved in with Octavio and Desiree Sanchez in January 2018, but a few months later, several family members stopped hearing from her. According to the Cleveland County District Attorney's Office, Sandoval was intellectually disabled and required around-the-clock care. The statement says Desiree Sanchez killed Sandoval and cashed in her Social Security checks up until the week before Sandoval's body was found. KFOR reports the Sanchez's collected close to $31,000 from Sandoval's Social Security checks and $3,200 from other government subsidies. Octavio and Desiree Sanchez reportedly sent messages to each other about Sandoval and called her trash and fat garbage. They allegedly said they had to, quote-unquote, get rid of her. According to KFOR, Desiree and Octavio Sanchez reportedly discussed blaming Octavio Sanchez for the killing because he had a prior criminal record. Following the conviction, District Attorney Greg Mashburn said Sandoval deserved better than how Desiree Sandoval treated her. Wow, $31,000, huh? I mean, it's pretty obvious that they had already intended on killing I'm sorry, what's her name? Maggie. They already had that planned out because they knew that they could steal the Social Security payments that were being given to her. So, I mean, not only did they steal from Social Security, mind you, Social Security is, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I use my phone as a camera, and I'm getting an incoming call right now, so I'm waiting until the call finishes up. Which is odd, because I had put the do not disturb. So, oh well, I'll call that person back. That's fine. They'll be okay. But yeah, Maggie, she was intellectually disabled. She was confined to a bed and she needed care 24 hours a day. They thought they could just take this person out, erase her as if nothing happened, like as if no one would notice that this human being is missing, and they kept cashing in her checks. They made up this whole lie about this person just to continue to cash the Social Security payments to not get a job. That's it. At the end of the day, it was just ways to cheat the system and not having to get a job. Two individuals, two human beings, chose to better kill someone and continue to cash that person's checks because they thought that they could just do that and that no one else was going to notice, and they were going to end up blaming someone else for it as well. because that person had already spent time in jail. Mind you, that person is the accomplice to Desiree. So they're not even smart enough to try to blame it on a third person. No, they picked these. They were going to blame the boyfriend. I mean, what kind of criminal mastermind plan is this? This is horrible. I mean, they couldn't even do that right. And the only person that has to pay for this is Maggie. I mean, life had already dealt her horrendous cards. On top of that, she needed to have these two individuals in her life. Horrible. And that's like his crazy. Mind you, now this whole family has to deal with this. Again, life had already given this person some horrible cards. Then on top of that, you get this. Because, just to repeat, she was confined to a bed. And the messages they were calling her like trash. And they were talking about getting rid of her. Like she's a piece of garbage that just needs to be taken out. As opposed to it being like an actual human being. Isn't that something, huh? Cashing in on those checks. Because where do you think Social Security money comes from? I just throwing it out there, because Social Security is done through the government. How do you think the government gets money? That's us. So this woman was literally stealing from us taxpayers after having committed a horrendous crime against her stepdaughter. Because it always leads back to the taxpayer, huh? Isn't that something? We're involved in things even though we didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, you can look for it. You can always Google it. Social Security is funded by taxpayer money. That's why it's taken out of your paycheck. So then later, when you get to the age of 65 or older, I guess there are some politicians trying to change that, but it's supposed to be 65 or older, and then you start cashing in your Medicaid and your Social Security and all that. But those are all done through the work that you put into, but it's from the taxes that they take out of your money. Like they're not taking additional money. It's from your income tax. They take those taxes. You're paying for Medicare, Medicaid, and all this, but that's also a social program. So there's money taken out from your own Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare from each paycheck that's being used to redistribute it to other people that need Social Security. So in this case, if you want to see it really like realistically, taxpayers were led to believe that they were paying for the Social Security of someone that completely needed it, but in reality, these two criminals had already killed that person and were using that taxpayer money basically to fund their own criminal lifestyle. Let's just call it that. I'm telling you, all I gotta do is reconnect everything and it always comes back to the taxpayer.